Do you like to be that guy who rushes inside enemy team with a shotgun and sends everyone to respawn in a matter of seconds? If you do, you will definitely like the playstyle of American tank destroyer M50 Ontos. When you want to take a break from traditional tanks with traditional gameplay, this strange looking triangle is what you need. First, let's talk about all these topics, and in the second half of a video I'll try to explain how all these traits will affect your gameplay and how the tank feels in different game modes. First, let's take a look at the shells. There are two types of them. Hesh will be used in almost all situations, and heat with 380mm of penetration rarely, only if you are up-tiered and facing really heavy tanks like Mouse. Every time you shoot your main gun, by default 4 machine guns will shoot at the same time, so don't get distracted by all these traces. Gun is the most specific part of this tank. This is what leads to different playstyle. Most important thing, you have not 1 but 6 guns, and you can fire from all of them with a minimum delay before starting to reload. Reload starts only after you fire all 6 shells, and it takes only 13 seconds with aced crew to reload all of your guns. But the ability to shoot 6 projectiles quickly comes with a price. First disadvantage is terrible wobbling. After stop, you will still have to wait few seconds before you can shoot. And even when you shoot, your shots are not firing exactly where your crosshair is pointing. That's because half of your guns are located to the right and another half to the left of where you are aiming. Moreover, some of them are placed on different height. When leaving the barrel, shells are flying at about 500 meters per second, which means you'll have to adjust your aim for gravity a lot. What was another disadvantage of 106mm recoilless rifle? Oh yeah, the recoil. That's the main reason you don't want to hold fire button to shoot all your shells. It will take a second until your aim stabilizes again. But how about protection? Look at those angles. Must be a master of ricochets. But the problem is, doesn't matter how angled is your cardboard. So make sure to hide from everything that can shoot. And if you get hit, that's probably will be the last thing you will see, because you only have 2 crew members. They must be best friends that cannot live without each other, because if one is knocked out, you can start choosing next vehicle to respawn. Despite being tank destroyer, you are somewhat flexible with the gun's elevation of 20 degrees and depression of 10 degrees, and your turret can rotate about 45 degrees to each side. Speed is something you can expect to have when there is no armor, and yes, it feels like a light tank. You will often be the first to reach capture point. Expect to reach 40 km per hour or even 50 if going downhill in a straight line. 7 km backwards will also be useful when rolling back to cover. Just because you are tank destroyer is not something that stopped Gaijin from adding some of the light tanks upgrades to this vehicle. Airstrike plus improved optics. And you can spot enemies for your team. Now, how does all these things transfer to an actual gameplay? In arcade, I found it difficult to play this tank. There you need armor and gun that can shoot accurately. So despite having good guns depression, shooting over a hill is complicated, since any target that is at some range cannot be hit with confidence. Yes, you can spam your shots, but you can take only 3 reloads for 6 shells, so 18 shells in total, unless you can replenish your ammo on capture point. Targets at long distance with only turret exposed are not something you want to shoot. Here you should support your team by non-stop spotting and use advantage of being able to join air battle. Enemy planes will try to shoot your tank before timer ends, so make sure you are hidden behind buildings. You can try to use advantage of that most of your guns are above your turret to shoot over hills, but be extremely careful, since any machine gun fire is dangerous to you. and splash damage from high explosive shell hitting your gun will reach your hull as well. Try to use your speed to take such points where enemies cannot reach you and wait for them to appear from over the corner. Try to engage slow and busy opponents. City maps are the best for such ambushes. Usually I wouldn't take this tank from the start, but I like to have it in crew slots at all times for one only reason. When our respawn point is overrun and there are enemies in the open waiting for someone to respawn. This is the only vehicle that can, in theory, kill up to 6 enemies before immortality ends. Maybe you won't win match this way, but at least some spawn campers will get punished. In realistic, this tank surprised me. Despite being quite poor realistic player, I still managed to be useful. It's all thanks to that no markers makes it easier for small vehicle like this to get closer undetected. And once you get closer, it doesn't matter that your shots are not accurate or shells have relatively small muzzle velocity. Even wobbling does not matter if enemy is right in front of you. Just be sure to spot enemy first and fire first. Hesh round will do the job for you. Don't even think of shooting targets far away unless they are in the open and stationary. Your ammo count is too small to be wasted. So if you can certainly hit someone, get closer. Like in this example, I wasn't able to aim properly because of debris that covers my vision and activates my shell's fuses, and wasted a third of all my ammo. So I quickly got closer to have a perfect shot. Keep in mind that most likely enemy has more accurate gun and he will win if you decide to trade shots. Overall, if you want to learn to flank, this is the perfect vehicle for that, because it forces you to do so. It is the only way to play it effectively. Why don't you suggest what vehicles you would like to see next? The one that will be suggested most often will get space on my to-do list, and maybe a few weeks later you will see your favorite. For now, subscribe so you don't miss it. And now I'm giving you some time to press that subscribe button, and you can jump to next videos somewhere here in the top. You can even like the video